Coming to our next topic is scorpion sting. So this is one of the most common, apart from your snake bite, the most common bites which you usually come across, especially in children. So scorpion stings, the major public health problem, okay, especially in many developing countries. Scorpions, they vary in size, say from 120 centimeters in length. So small ones usually they're found in the crevices, in marsh areas or moist areas. Okay, so mostly they're nocturnal. So the venom is present in the glands in the last segment of the tail. It passes by a duct to a stinger at the end of the tail. Okay, it's an acute life-threatening emergency. It's a time-limiting emergency. You should act as early as possible. Okay. The clinical pictures, it evolves in 30 minutes to 6 hours. So the most prominent effects are cardiovascular effects. Okay, we'll come to know what are those things. And the complications are pulmonary edema and cardiogenic shock, which are the major cause of death in case of scorpion sting. Coming to the habitat, they're a terrestrial habitat. They're not found in sea or anything. They're terrestrial in habitat, nocturnal behavior. So most of the bites which we come across, they come in the night. Many times we don't even know when the bite has occurred. So morning they find this small sting mark. So here the sting mark is just a point. There can be a local reaction. Okay. So these scorpions, they found in crevices, burrows, under logs, debris. Okay, debris, paddy fields. So these are the common places where they found. Another most significant thing in your scorpion sting is the venom. The venom of the scorpion contains a huge chemicals, okay, huge toxins. They do contain neurotoxin, cardiotoxin, nephrotoxin, toxin, that's phospholipase as well as phosphodiesterase. So numerous things will be containing. Okay, and these neurotoxin, they act by indirectly stimulating the sodium channels. So you have to have mild idea of your pharmacology, neurosynaptic junctions. Okay, where does this toxin act, and why are the clinical features which we see, and how are they responsible? Okay, so the toxin is there. How is the toxin responsible for the various clinical manifestations which we do see in case of scorpion sting? Okay, so the presynaptic nerve terminals, they're stimulated, and there is also inhibition of calcium dependent potassium channels. So these things give rise to something known as autonomic storm. Autonomic storm is, see, your autonomic system is divided into your sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay, so you should know what are the manifestation of a sympathetic stimulation, what are the manifestation of a parasympathetic stimulation. Broadly, and the most common ones which you come across is sympathetic stimulation. If it happens, there will be increase in heart rate, increase in respiratory rate, increase in diaphoresis or sweating. So these are things which you see in the case of sympathetic stimulation. In case of parasympathetic stimulation, what we do come across is the gut motility. So there can be opening of your orifices, there can be urinary incontinence, there can be bowel incontinence, there can be bradycardia, there can be hypotension. So these are the features of parasympathetic. So in case of a scorpion sting, these sympathetic and parasympathetic stimulation do occur, and they manifest in a huge way for that particular age. Okay, so that's why it's called as storm. Storm is something huge, something in a big manner. So this autonomic storm, this autonomic instability, the sympathetic and parasympathetic stimulation, they do occur in a very high manner due to the stimulation of your sodium channels and presynaptic nerve terminals. So this is what occurs. So what actually happens is there is complex interaction between a sympathetic and parasympathetic system. Okay, So there is depletion of catecholamines, which is responsible for your myocardial dysfunction, which will in turn cause your shock. So the most important window we get is between this 6 to 13 hours. So initial 1 to 2 hours and 6 to 13 hours, you have to act to control this autonomic storm and stabilize the patient. Once the patient is stabilized, then starts the recovery phase. Okay, so most of the deaths do occur during this autonomic storm when there is depletion of your catecholamines and things. There's the child is going to go for myocardial dysfunction and pulmonary edema and shock. So you have to act during this window and stabilize the patient. Once the stabilization occurs, then the next is recovery phase. They do recover very well. Okay, it's a very simple thing. So you have to be aware of the manifestation. You have to know why this is happening. You have to act to control this autonomic storm, and you should know what to give. So it's a very simple drug, so you should know what to give. So what are the clinical features of this autonomic storm? So they can be bradycardia, they can be tachycardia, there can be tachypnea, there can be increased salivation, hypertension, sweating, arrhythmias, and one more significant thing is priapism. Okay, so you'll notice that there is straightening of penis. So priapism is there, which is a very significant thing in case of a scorpion sting. In case of my male child, okay, there can be hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia is because of your insulin depletion. Okay, so in general, the patient will be very restless and hyperexcitable. So once there is depletion of these catecholamines, they become weak. Okay, so these are the things which we do come across. So as we discussed, the venom is composed of various concentration of neurotoxin, cardiotoxin, nephrotoxin, hemolytic toxin. So all this, it's a concoction of these toxins. Okay, so important clinical features of envenomation are neuromuscular, neuroautonomic, or local tissue effects. Okay, so neuromuscular, neuroautonomic, and local tissue effects. So these are the most important clinical features which is seen. Okay, so the scorpions, they come from variety of colors. Tan, they can be tan, dark, or brown. So the most common ones which we do see are black ones. Okay, and each has, if you can see closely, you can observe that the last tail segment, they contain a stinger. Okay, they contain a stinger through which it releases the toxin. So the most dangerous types of scorpion are your black scorpion and fat tail scorpion. Okay, so the clinical effects of venom are, so locally there can be tissue inflammation and necrosis. The pain can be pretty intense. There can be numbness and tingling around the area of the sting. So see, if the patient is walking barefoot, most of the sting will be in the lower limbs. But because the scorpion, they're mostly nocturnal creatures, right? So it can be in a small hole or a burrow or a small in any moist areas. So if the patient is sleeping down, so the bite can be anywhere from head end to foot end. So if at all the bite is on the hand or the upper limb or somewhere near the shoulder or back, you can't neglect it that it might not be a scorpion sting, because when the patient is supine, the scorpion can sting anywhere in the dependent part, right? So you should be aware of when did the bite occur. So if it's in the night, it can be, the sting can be not only on the lower limbs, it can be anywhere on any parts of the body. So there can be slight swelling in the area around the sting. There can be muscle twitching or rash. There can be some unusual head and neck movements, excessive salivation, sweating, vomiting can be there. And because of insulin secretion suppression, there can be hyperglycemia. Okay, so when you admit the patient, when you look for the blood sugar, it can be pretty high. Okay, that's because insulin secretion is suppressed. There can be muscle spasm, convulsions, shock. Okay, the most common is cardiac dysfunction and pulmonary edema, which are the major cause of death. In children, there can be restlessness or incessant crying. Right. So similar to your grades of envenomation in case of snake bite, there are also grades of envenomation in case of scorpion sting. So in grade 1, there's only isolated pain. So there can be a small sting mark, just a point mark. There can be localized tissue redness. There can be isolated pain. Grade 2, so in grade 1, there are no systemic symptoms, only local. Okay. In grade 2, there are systemic manifestations in the form of fever, hypotension, increased sweating. There can be some tachycardia. So these are the increased sympathetic manifestation. Whereas in grade 3, this sympathetic manifestation has led to a complication. So what are the complications? They are life-threatening complications like shock, pulmonary edema, CNS involvement. Okay. So if these things are noted, you are treating a grade 3 envenomation. So what are the treatment? Treatment is based on what are the symptoms you are witnessing. Okay. So first and foremost, treat the shock. So because of your autonomic nervous system stimulation, if there is sympathetic stimulation, there can be hypertension. But in case there is parasympathetic overstimulation, there will be hypotension and shock. So treat the shock. Give analgesics for the treatment of for the pain. Fluid management. So in treatment of shock, if the patient is accepting orally, give more of fluids. In case the patient is excessively vomiting, okay, or if there is any altered sensorium, give IV fluids. And there is also something known as scorpion antivenom, but it's not commonly used. Okay, so management, we mainly focus on few things: autonomic dysfunction, how are you going to treat that? Management of pain, fluid management, pulmonary edema. So these are the 4 things. So watch for the development of pulmonary edema. How do you watch for development of pulmonary edema? Auscultate the lung fields. If you are hearing any basal crepitations, okay, if you are hearing any basal crepitations, if there is any cardiomegaly, then you are dealing with a pulmonary edema. Okay, so look for pulmonary edema, management of fluid, treat the shock. So main focus should be on these things. So the first point here is autonomic dysfunction. How do you treat autonomic dysfunction? Or in other words, excuse me. Or in other words, how do you treat an autonomic storm? The foremost drug which you give for autonomic storm is prazosin. Okay, prazosin. What is prazosin? You would have remotely can recall, probably somewhere in the corner of your mind. Okay, I'd heard about prazosin in my pharmacology class, right? So the prazosin is, it competitively blocks your postsynaptic alpha 1 receptors. So it controls the BP and tachycardia. So in case of scorpion sting, this prazosin acts as a cellular and pharmacological antidote. Okay, there's no specific scorpion anti-serum like how you have for anti-snake venom. We don't have anything like that. Even though they came up with that, it's not so successful. Okay, so this prazosin is a cellular and a pharmacological antidote. They suppresses the sympathetic flow, activates venom, inhibit potassium channels. It also counteracts this vasoconstriction so that the blood flow is good and the hypertension is managed. So how do you get these? They come as 1 mg tablets, small 1 mg tablets, but the recommended dose is 30 microgram per kg per dose. Your 1 mg is how many micrograms? 1000 micrograms. Okay, so recommended dose is 30 microgram per kg per dose. And one adverse reaction of this prazosin is first dose phenomenon. Okay, there is something known as first dose phenomenon. So as soon as you give, there is hypotension. Okay, so monitoring the blood pressure is very important. So monitor the blood pressure properly. Watch out for any first dose phenomenon. For pain, you give benzodiazepines. If the pain is very severe, give a local ice pack, NSAIDs, xylocaine. Okay. Next, we discussed about fluid management. How do you manage the fluid? So, if the child is taking orally, give plenty of oral fluids. Because why there is hypertension, why do you manage the fluids is because they might be vomiting. The child might be losing the fluids and electrolytes. They can be profuse sweating because of sympathetic stimulation. Okay, so you have to take care of that. Whereas in cases where there is there is altered sensorium and severe vomiting, you might have to give parenteral IV fluids. If there is pulmonary edema or myocardial dysfunction, so the goal is to decrease the afterload. Afterload is because of a hypertension, so decrease that. For some vasodilatation effect, you can give sodium nitroprusside or nitroglycerin. Then finally, the wonder drug, you can give prazosin. The scorpion usefulness is yet to be found. Okay, because they did many trials giving scorpion antivenom, but they found that it did not alter the clinical course of scorpion sting. So there was no significant benefit even when you give antivenom and you treat it symptomatically with the medications which are available. So it didn't find any advantage over a usual treatment. So the majority of the children develop severe manifestation of scorpion envenomation. So simple knowledge of scorpion sting, the manifestations of scorpion sting, and what are the treatment which you can give for that is going to save the life of the child. Okay, because when the child comes, he comes with a varied manifestations. This autonomic storm, once you see a patient of autonomic storm, you'll never forget in your life. So they have this huge manifestations. You might get scared, but simple management, simple uh, rationale of the action of your autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, the cholinergic receptors. So this knowledge of these things based on what drugs you have to give to control that, and symptomatic management of your hypotension, your tachycardia, all these things is going to save the life of the child. Most important thing is, even when you give these drugs, a close monitoring is at most important. The time lapse between the sting and the administration of prazosin determines the outcome of the child. Therefore, prazosin is always given as an immediate measure. And also some cases, no, you might come across myocardial dysfunction. So you might need some inotropes. So what we usually is dobutamine infusion we'll give. In case of pulmonary edema, where there's severe respiratory distress, the child might go for ARDS. So they might require some ventilatory support. And these are the things which you do. So ventilatory support, inotropic support, treatment of refractory shock. These are the things which you treat intensively in an intensive care unit to decrease the mortality of the child. Thank you.